Welcome back. We are currently on day number 5 of our Dragonite, and today is the last day that you have to be patient. Next class, you're going to get to open up your model magic, and you're going to get to do all the fun stuff. But do make sure that by next class you also have the plastic baggie. We're calling them Ziploc bags. They do not have to be a Ziploc brand, but just something that's a plastic baggie that you can go like this and squeeze out all the air, and it's not going to dry your clay out. So have this by next class. You'll also want scissors and your markers, and then of course, you'll want to have your planning sheets done. So both the one that has like the 4 dragon eyes that we colored in, where the dragon eyes were already created for us, and then you're creating your own 2 dragon eyes as well and coloring those in. So if you did not finish those last class, I didn't. So I'm guessing you may not have either. That would be a today type thing, because we'll definitely need it done before next class, because next class we're actually going to be referencing what we drew, and we're going to make one of those. So think to some of the other projects where it's like, okay, here we made our brainstorming and now we're going to be creating that thing. That's what we're doing with this too. We want to have it drawn the way we think we want it to be, and then we're going to look at that as we're creating it. So have those done before next class as well. Today is going to be more of a just sit back, relax, and take in the information kind of day. You are not opening up your model magic until next class. So I just wanted you to know that. But I'm going to show you some strategies, here's how to use it, so that when you do open it up, you know what to do with it. Okay? So first and foremost, when you're opening it up, kind of feel like one side, it usually has more of an air bubble than the other side. The side with the air bubble is usually the side that I like to cut open, and then that way I'm not cutting the clay itself. Not a big deal if you cut the clay, because honestly, you're going to see it a little bit. I will actually be cutting it on purpose. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do you see how I just opened that up? I just kind of peeled from the center, and sometimes if it's being ridiculous, then I just grab those scissors back out, because sometimes it's ridiculous. So the very first thing I'm going to show you, and watch this, it's so fun. It's fun to cut your dry clay. Anyway, the reason why I'm cutting it is because I'm going to show you how we get this colored in. Okay? So we want to get our clay different colors based on the color schemes that we're choosing, right? And so how do we do that? We use our markers. Okay? So go ahead and get those markers on out. And we don't have every color in the world, but we got a lot of them, and we do know about color mixing. So because we know about color mixing, we also can make more colors than just what we see here. So for example, if in my Dragonite I have a red-orange, I guess first let's just show you how to do this. You take your marker, you take your air-dried clay, and you just start to color it in. There is no oh, you should dot it like that, or honestly just get that marker ink into it. Heads up, your fingers, when you start doing this, next class, are going to change colors. Okay, so now that I've got my color on there, now I'm going to, it's almost like if you've ever used food dye while making food before, maybe like cookies or something like that. It's kind of like that, right? Let's see if I can get you to see the color a little bit better here. So actually, let me compare. I think it's kind of hard to tell what color it is when it's, but here is the plain white, and then there is the orange, which right now it's actually a tint, right? A tint of orange, because it's mixed with white, and so it actually looks peach right now. Which means if I want it to be darker than that, I'm going to come back for another round, and I'm going to mix this some more, add more ink. So you can really customize the color as you get going. because the more color you add to it, the more intense that color is going to become. And also, let's talk about, this is very satisfying. If you got a lot of stress, this is going to help over the next few days. Just like squeezing all this air dry clay. It's kind of fun. All right, I'm going to do another one with just the orange. Flatten that out a little bit more first. I find it helps to kind of flatten the clay before you color it in, just so it's not so bumpy on you. Anyway, adding more of that marker ink to it. Paper is not the best thing to be working on, by the way. If you have more of a smooth surface, like pretty much anything might work out better. Although you also don't want to be getting marker, like if you're working on like a wood desk, you don't want the marker to be transferring. So I guess, you know, maybe you could get even like a plate or something. Could be nice. So let's just do a comparison. Now you can probably tell a lot better that that's more orange, and then that's our white that we started off with. Okay, so let's say I don't just want it to be orange though. I want it to be a red orange. We learned about that, right? Different colors. So that would be what, one of our tertiary colors when we mix a primary color with a secondary color. That makes a tertiary color, red orange in this example. La la la. Just wrap that up like a little burrito. Yum. Don't eat it. Trust me, it will not taste good. All right, mixing that on up, and you can just see too, as I'm going, there's like this marbling going on here. So I guess if that's part of your design, if you wanted that marbling, you could kind of leave it like that. That could be cool, depending on what you're going for. Oh, I should have left a chunk of just the orange out by itself. I feel like that would have been good to have a comparison. Next time, Mrs. Stinson, come on. Anyway, because that red is a much more powerful color. Wow, I feel like you still can't see it very well. Oh, I guess actually from further away, that actually, now you can see the colors better than when it's up here. Too much light there. Okay, so cool. We'll keep it down lower. You can see it better. But you can see like that darker color really changed it quickly. Anyway, that is how you like dye to change the colors of the Model Magic. Okay, that's how we're gonna get the colors changed. That being said, like once it's done, we will be able to go back over it as well, but you won't be able to like get a consistent color. So like for example, let's just say, do I have an eyeball up here somewhere? That was a weird sentence. Do I have an eyeball up here somewhere? That's a weird thing to say. But let's just say, for example, if this is my dragon eye and I actually, made it look nice and whatever, I can, like towards the end, like I'd be able to come back in and add some detail with marker and just leave it like that without mixing it in. So that is also going to be an option, but you wouldn't want to like do that with just the white clay. You're going to want to start off with some colors, right? Anyway, there's the whole, here's how you color it in. Next thing I want to talk about is how do we shape the clay. So first off, if I've got clay, you can roll it into a ball. If I want to shape the ball into something else, I can take my fingers and start to pinch it. I don't know what I would use that for exactly, but let me just grab a smaller piece. A lot of times it's going to be kind of rolling it around and pinching. Like those are really the things. So I just rolled that and now I pinched it, and I probably am going to want to smooth this out a little bit, and maybe I bend it. So this could be like if I were making some spikies coming out, right? That could be that. When you roll clay, so like if I'm rolling it on here, heads up, you're going to want to roll with this part of your hand. Don't roll with your fingers, because that's what that looks like. That's not great. We don't want that. So roll with the palm of your hand. If you don't like something, go ahead and just boop, 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 put it back together. Okay, not a big deal. And so like, for example, if I'm making a coil, la 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 la. So a coil is kind of think like a straw or a tube, minus that it's not hollow on the inside. But I can do this, and then I can use my scissors and cut it into little bits. I don't know, then do I want to make these into like little spikies? I don't know. You're going to choose. Maybe I want to take and make like a two-toned curled coil. So maybe I put two coils together and I do something like this. Ooh, that's kind of cool, right? And of course, the tighter I weave it, the closer those are going to get together. So that can be kind of cool, doing something like that. Maybe I take, now you could do this with just one coil, or in this case, I'm going to make it look like a peppermint. Look at that. I can curl it up like this. And that looks pretty cool. Let's say that I'm just trying to make a slab. So a slab, think about like when you roll out cookies. So a slab, okay, I'm going to just roll it in a ball first. La 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 la. Notice using the palms of my hand. And then I can go like this. All right, I could even, if I really want to get it nice and flat, use my markers or something else. This is where you might want to plate so it doesn't get stuck to the paper. But I can use something like that, and that gives me a nice slab. From here, you know, maybe I want to make, I don't know, like a scale shape. Maybe these are going to be, I don't know, I'd probably, if I was doing scales, I'd probably do a bunch of tiny ones. But notice you can take and create whatever shapes you want out of this, okay? Maybe I want it to be a smaller scale. Or maybe I want it to be scales, but my scales also have some texture in it too. Look around your house for things that can cause texture. Because even things like that, well, you can't really see that. Let me see if I get close and I block. There you go. So think of things like that too as we get going. What I'm going to show you next is a YouTube video. We're going to start at 2 minutes 55 seconds in. The first part shows about like making the pupils. We don't need to do that because we've got these. But then the rest of it's going to show like literally here's how to make the whole thing, and it's really well done. So if you want to see the full process, you know, we're going to watch that. And then what else? So that's going to be linked as well in our slides. And then also getting ready, because remember next class is when we are going to actually start making these. So have those pictures drawn and colored in, have that baggie ready to go, have all your supplies ready to go as well, and I will see you then.